We have some breaking news coming out right now. U.S. Central Command says it has shot down an Iranian drone that was, quote, aggressively approaching a U.S. aircraft carrier, saying hours later, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard harassed a U.S. merchant ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Today's escalation comes as the Trump administration continues its pressure campaign on Iran, positioning warships near the pivotal shipping route, warning it needs to strike a deal on its nuclear development program or face strikes from those warships. NewsNation's Hannah Brandt is live at the White House. Hannah, with more on what we are learning.
Nichole, that's right. NewsNation just confirmed those two incidents, which of course come amid tensions between the U.S. and Iran. And as the U.S. builds up its presence in the region, its military presence there, we did just confirm that the U.S. military shot down an Iranian drone earlier today. We're told by U.S. Central Command this was something done in self-defense to protect American troops and American military equipment as well. They sent us a statement talking about this incident, and I want to read you part of what it says because a spokesperson for U.S. Central Command tells us the drone, quote, aggressively approached a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier with unclear intent. We're told this happened about 500 miles away from Iran's southern coast. As I said, the U.S. has really built up this massive armada of warships and fighter planes in that area. Plus, Central Command telling us there was a separate incident hours later in the Strait of Hormuz where they say Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard forces harassed a U.S.-flagged merchant ship. Now, they say those forces were threatening to board and seize this U.S. tanker. CENTCOM telling us, though, a U.S. missile destroyer and Air Force troops were in the area, so they responded to escort this tanker safely away. Now, all of this as President Trump continues to weigh taking military action potentially against the Iranian government. He says the countries are negotiating at this point, but I want you to take a listen to what he said just yesterday in the Oval Office.
I mean, he's been very nice over the last month or two. He was certainly critical before that, but somehow after the Venezuelan raid, he became very nice. He changed his attitude very much. So, no, I look forward to seeing him. He's coming in. We're going to be talking about drugs because tremendous amounts of drugs come out of his country. And I look forward to seeing. We're going to have a good meeting. Right now, we're talking to them. We're talking to Iran. And if we can work something out, that'd be great. And if we can't, probably bad things would happen.
So a pretty ominous warning there from President Trump. And that first message he said was about Colombia's President Petro, who he's meeting with currently in the Oval Office. So a lot of foreign policy discussions going on right now and a lot to watch in the world, Nichole.
So Hannah, this escalation there in the Middle East happening as the president is working to de-escalate tensions with Colombia's president in the Oval Office today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That meeting has been going on for about 2 hours as of now. Now, press are not allowed inside, so we don't see that typical discussion that we often see at the top of these meetings with foreign leaders. And so we're waiting to hear updates from the White House after that meeting does finish. But I would note that these are two leaders who have not been very publicly friendly to each other. In fact, they've traded attacks in recent months on a number of different issues. And so what we're watching for is whether they can find common ground in this meeting, because in recent months, we've heard President Trump especially attack Petro's government over the flow of drugs. He's accused Petro of essentially, flooding the U.S. with cocaine. He's also threatened military action on Colombia, even referencing his recent capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro as a sort of warning for the country. Petro himself hasn't pulled any punches on Trump either. He's been very outspoken against the U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean. He even at one point accused the Trump administration of murdering a Colombian fisherman. He's also been very critical of U.S. immigration policy. Now, that tone between the two leaders did seem to soften about a month ago when they held a phone call. And it was during that phone call that President Trump invited President Petro here to the White House to meet face to face. He even said just yesterday he was expecting it to be a very good meeting. And he suggested that the two leaders may be able to come to some sort of agreement on the fight to stop the flow of drugs, Nichole.
All right, Hannah Brandt, live for us there in D.C. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.